Hello again and welcome to tutorial number 4. In this tutorial we're just going to show a little bit more about the collection note editor, because once you have content in there you may want to manipulate it and do some editing, spruce up the text and things like that. So this is just to kind of give you an example of how to access some of the more powerful features within the collection note editor itself. Now, if you've been with us in the past, we've gone through a couple different iterations of the collection note editor because we had issues. And so some of the growing pains have been resolved, and we still have a couple of things that we're working on here, but I just want to show this to you. And for the example today, I'm going to use the sacrament prayers, which are found in Doctrine and Covenants section 20 and also Moroni chapters 4 and 5. So the first thing I've done here, I've kind of queued this up for us. The first column over here shows Doctrine and Covenants section 20. You can see the verses are marked up here. And I've got my library pane open here in the second column. And I just want to show, if you didn't know this, anytime you want to search for a book, you can start to type it. So if I hit the letter M up here, it immediately filtered for all the books that start with M. And it even took a guess at well, maybe you want Moses down there, and it shows me the 8 chapters. I could immediately click on that. If I do a D, I immediately get Doctrine and Covenants. So M-O-R-O. And so there we go. Now, when I click one of these, it's going to open up in a new pane. And here's a little trick for you. I do this a lot. I'm going to click the second one first. So watch what happens. It's going to open up chapter 5, and then I'm going to click on chapter 4, and that way I just queued them up in order because it's going to open them up immediately to the right of this pane. So if I'd clicked 4 or 5, they would have been out of order over here. Not a big deal because you can always drag and rearrange these, but that's just a little tip for you. So I've got my chapters open. From that, you already know how to create a collection note. You could have created the collection note from one of the verses in the Doctrine and Covenants over here on the left, and then just drag and drop the other verses in here so that you have all the verses in there that you want. Now what you can do then, and this is what I did, I'm just going to show you what I've got up here. I took the prayer on the bread and the prayer on the water, and I created a 3-column table. And in this, I showed on the left what the prayer on the bread is and matched it up with the prayer on the water and just hit enter at the end of each phrase so that I could see and have them line up perfectly between them exactly what the comparison is between these prayers. And so what you're really trying to do here is identify what is God promising to us and what are we promising to him. And so out here on the right, in the third column, I created my text of, our promises, God's promises, and then other questions that I typed here that I can do some research on. And then below that, I have some other notes. I've pasted in, a URL to another website and another quote here. And so in my categories, this is one of those times when I used my categories tab up here. I put article, audio, video, image, and if I've got questions and answers in here as well, I can check that one, and that's pretty much all I've got from right there. Well, I do have a quote, so that's my categories for that collection note. Okay, so now let's say you want to recreate what I did. This is where things can get a little tricky if you are using a table, because this editor is not perfect with tables yet. It's something we're working on. You don't have to use tables immediately, but I did want to show what you can do with them. So I will show you how to do it. I'm going to expand this, and you can see it's got these basic buttons here. Bold, underline, italicize. This will allow you to create either a numbered list or a bullet list. These are for the font color and the highlight color, and they work just like you'd expect. Highlight it, select your text, and then pick a color. And then there's these 2 buttons here, this paragraph tag and a more miscellaneous. So if I click the paragraph tag, I'm going to see font, and you can choose from some limited fonts in here. You can adjust the size of the text. You can see some formats, and these are kind of like not really critical, but you can also block quote something, and here's the table. Okay, and you can see the mouse moving it around selects the size of the table. Now tables are a little bit tricky. You want to hit a couple of spaces here before you insert a table, because once you put a table in, it's just a little bit hard to get outside the table if you don't already have it in. So I've hit a couple enter strokes here, and so now I'm going to insert my table just like that. And I've got a space above and below it. And so if I come over here and I highlight this verse, and I'll just paste it into the middle. Wow, what happened? Well, I've got a space on the left and a space on the right for the first and third column that are practically unusable, it looks like. But don't worry, that's actually normal, because we've just populated the middle box with the only text that's there. As soon as I put text in these other columns, either pasting or typing, they're going to kind of normalize like that, and you won't have any issues. So I just copy pasted that one verse over there, and so that's how it appeared. And then you can be typing whatever you want underneath that. So that's the paragraph extra toolbar. If I hit this one, it changes that to a different set of controls, and I can just toggle back and forth between those. And this editor will probably change a little bit in the future, but this is how it works right now. So if I was typing something here, I can indent that, and you can see it just created that space there, or I can outdent it and bring it back. I can align it in different ways. I can put it over on the right or left. And so this is a standard kind of thing. Strike through, line height, and if you need to, you can actually go into the HTML code if you want to modify something that way. So that's a quick look at how to use tables, and get a little bit deeper on how to use the collection note editor itself. I don't know that you'll use tables very much. I do it very sparingly. Most of the time I am just typing in here a summary in different ways of the notes I want to take from the verses in my collection, or pasting in a quote or whatever. So that's it for this tutorial. I will see you next time.